Hello everyone, welcome back to another video where today we're just going to be going over some of my favourite parts from the Doctor Who magazine special edition that was recently released today, because yeah, there's a couple of interesting things in there. It's mostly to do with Power of the Doctor, Jodie Whittaker's final episode, as well as the timeline of events for both David Tennant and Ncuti Gatwa taking over, sort of in the interim periods between, sort of Jodie Whittaker being announced to be leaving and her final episode. So yeah, sit back, relax, and enjoy this. Obviously, if you want to read the full magazine, I'd highly suggest going to pick it up yourself. I'm only going to be showing a very small selection of things that I found particularly interesting. But before we get into it, if you could do me a teeny tiny little favour and click that subscribe button, I'd be very much appreciative of that. We are trying to get to 20,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and we're less than 200 subscribers away from 18,000, so any support would be greatly appreciated. I also have a Twitter and an Instagram, which if you'd like to follow, the link will be in the description below. But with that said, let's get into the video. So yes, as I said, the 2023 yearbook for Doctor Who has been released, and I bought the digital edition because I have a Doctor Who magazine subscription, but I don't think special editions are included in that sort of set. But we know for a fact that Doctor Who magazine issue 585, which is the next regular issue, comes out a week from today, and will feature a continuation of the comic storyline Liberation of the Daleks, as well as Scott Hancock giving details on what's happening with Doctor Who filming and Ncuti Gatwa. So that'll be really exciting. But right now we have this. Obviously we went over the cover discourse yesterday, so I'm not going to air all that dirty laundry here once again. Suffice to say, whilst I will say that most of this issue is Jodie Whittaker related, I don't really mind that David is the main Doctor. I don't think it makes too much difference. And I just don't think it's that big a deal. I wouldn't really mind either way. So the starting page is talking about the people involved in making Power of the Doctor, and my favourite segment from this is actually here, from Janet Fielding, where she talks about how Colin Baker, Sylvester McCoy, and David Bradley were all spotted having food together, and that kind of scuppered their plans for, secrecy when it came to this new episode. Sophie and I ended up spending quite a bit of time together, but we didn't go anywhere together, unlike certain Doctors. In October 2021, the Home House Hotel in Penarth tweeted in a picture, guests David Bradley, Colin Baker and Sylvester McCoy in a restaurant. We were quite careful. I wore masks all the time. Mind you, I'm not quite as famous as they are, which helps. So yeah, that picture from way back in the day at Home House was indeed the result of them filming for the centenary, as was speculated a long time ago. So yeah, it's nice to have that confirmed. Obviously, Janet Fielding kind of poking fun there, which I think is pretty funny. So yeah, there's numerous interview bits from each sort of cast member. Some really nice details about how the shots with both Peter Davison and Sylvester McCoy were filmed when they meet their respective companions. And this is probably my favourite segment personally. We get to see a bit about the costumes for each Doctor and the sort of thinking behind them. With the Guardians of the Edge robes, apparently they were inspired by some of the Timeless Children garments as seen in that episode. Apparently they already had Paul McGann's original coat, and everything else had to be resourced, which I do think is quite interesting, because you'd think that they had the Night of the Doctor costume, considering it wasn't made that long ago. I guess 9 years ago. Oh my god, it was 9 years since Night of the Doctor. Anyway, and then it says about how Sylvester's costume was more cobbled together. Apparently, according to costume aficionados, Peter Davison's is the most accurate, which I guess makes sense because they admit that here, although I still think Sylvester looks great, personally. And then we get a little interview from Ray Holman, who's the costume designer. And then, this is probably like my personal favourite segment, and I guess the final segment that I'm probably going to be highlighting today. We have a sort of timeline of events for the last year, including obviously from January up until about June right here, where they talk about Neil Patrick Harris's casting, Doctor Who Redacted, Eve of the Daleks, Legend of the Sea Devils, Ncuti Gatwa's casting, Yasmin Finney's casting, and more, which is all very exciting. And yeah, it's very much a year that I enjoyed a lot. Also, we get a new picture, what I think is a new picture of Sophie Aldred in costume there, which is cool too. And details of Ncuti Gatwa on the press circuit last month in America, so that's cool too. And then, yeah, so the rest of the issue mostly consists of details surrounding each of Jodie Whittaker's episodes, from When We Fell to Earth, right the way up to Power of the Doctor, which of course I won't show all of, because as I said, go buy the magazine yourself if you want. They also have this little segment, which I've seen some people kind of memeing on or talking about on Twitter, called Thasmin Watching, where they basically say how Thasmin developed in an episode. And there's this really odd segment in Orphan 55, where it's implied that Vilma sacrifices herself, as in the Bene woman, sacrifices herself because she sees the love that Yaz has for the Doctor. Having lost her beloved Benny forever, Vilma sacrifices herself so that Yaz can live. Is this because she knows love when she sees it? Very odd, personally. I don't think it was planned that far ahead, but you know what? Fair enough. We also get some details on Doctor Who figures. And that about wraps up the issue. This is the backside that they posted publicly, so I don't think I'm showing anything too extravagant there. But yeah, overall, a pretty solid issue. Mostly involves the outgoing era, obviously, and next week will be more on RTD2 filming and all that exciting stuff, so make sure you're subscribed for that. But yeah, let me know in the comments below what you think about any of the things we discussed in this Doctor Who magazine video thing. Like this video if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you later.